Chosen ones, there are people having sleepless nights right now because of you. Not because of anything you did to them, but because of what you saw in them, because of what you figured out about them when they thought their masks were perfect. Right now, as you're minding your own business, somebody is lying awake terrified that you're going to tell their secret. Another person is pacing their room, wondering if you've finally connected the dots about what they tried to do to you. And there's someone else out there who attempted to destroy you completely, and now they can't sleep because you survived to tell the story. The wild part is that most of you don't even realize the fear you're causing. You're just living your life, handling your business, trying to heal from everything that's been thrown at you. Meanwhile, there are people out there checking your social media obsessively, analyzing your every move, trying to figure out if you know what they did. They're searching for signs that you're plotting against them, looking for evidence that you're coming for revenge. But here's what's really keeping them up at night: your silence, your complete withdrawal from their chaos, the fact that you just walked away without a word, and they know exactly why. See, these people made a critical miscalculation. They thought they could move against you while you were naive, while you were still figuring out who you really are. Some of them have been throwing energy at you since you were young, trying to take you out of the game before you became strong enough to realize what you're capable of. Like Harry Potter being attacked as a baby, you've had forces working against you before you even understood there was a spiritual battle happening. And now that you're waking up to your true power, now that you're starting to piece together all those strange experiences and unexplained attacks throughout your life, these people are absolutely terrified. The universe has been preparing you for this moment your entire life. Every challenge you faced, every betrayal you survived, every attack you withstood, it was all training for what's coming next. You weren't being punished, you were being prepared. You weren't being broken, you were being built. And the people who contributed to your trials are now beginning to understand that they didn't weaken you, they accidentally helped create a spiritual warrior they can't defeat. Let me tell you about this gift you carry that has them shaking. You have what I call divine discernment, and it's not something you learned or developed. You were born with it, programmed into your spiritual DNA before you even took your first breath. This gift allows you to see through facades that fool everyone else. You walk into a room and immediately know who's genuine and who's performing. Someone can be saying all the right words, but you hear the real message underneath. They can be smiling in your face, but you feel the knife they're hiding behind their back. Throughout your life, this gift has gotten you in trouble. As a child, you probably called out things that adults didn't want to acknowledge. You pointed at the emperor and said he had no clothes while everyone else pretended not to notice. You got punished for seeing what you weren't supposed to see, for knowing what you weren't supposed to know. They put you in timeout for speaking truth, fired you from jobs for being too aware, ended friendships because your knowing made them uncomfortable. Remember those times in school when you could feel a teacher's personal problems affecting how they treated students, but nobody else seemed to notice? Or those moments at work when you knew exactly who was stealing, who was lying, who was sabotaging projects, even without proof? You've always had this supernatural ability to perceive the truth beneath the performance, and it's made you dangerous to people who live in deception. But something's been happening lately. The gift that once felt like a curse is revealing itself as your greatest protection. All those times you randomly distanced yourself from certain people, all those sudden urges to cut contact with someone who seemed perfectly nice, all those gut feelings that made you change your plans at the last minute, that was your spiritual protection system, keeping you safe from attacks you couldn't even see coming. The universe has been playing chess while your enemies were playing checkers, moving you out of harm's way before the harm even manifested. And now these people who thought they had you figured out are realizing something terrifying. You weren't moving randomly at all. Every step back was strategic. Every withdrawal was calculated by forces beyond their understanding. What looked like you running away was actually you being repositioned for something bigger. They thought they were forcing you into isolation, but really the universe was calling you into a sacred space where their energy couldn't reach you anymore. Think about the last time you suddenly felt the need to leave a situation. Maybe it was a job where you just knew you had to get out, even though you couldn't explain why. Or a relationship that looked perfect on paper, but something deep inside you said run. Within weeks or months of your departure, the truth came out, didn't it? The company went under, the person's true colors were exposed, the situation imploded. You got out just in time, guided by that inner knowing that saved you more times than you can count. This brings us to where you are right now, in what I call the hermit phase. And let me tell you why this particular phase has your enemies more frightened than anything else you could do. See, when you're out in the world, visible, accessible, they can at least keep tabs on you. They can monitor your moves, gauge your emotional state, figure out if you're planning something against them. But when you go dark, when you withdraw into your sacred solitude, their imagination runs wild with possibilities. They're wondering what you're planning in that silence. They're terrified of what you might be discovering in that solitude. Some of them know about spiritual warfare, and they're genuinely afraid you're in there learning how to fight back on their level. Others who don't understand the spiritual realm are just paranoid that you're gathering evidence, building a case, preparing to expose them in ways they never saw coming. The truth is even better than their fears. You're not planning anything against them at all. You're just healing, growing, connecting with the divine, and that natural elevation is what's really going to destroy them. During this hermit phase, something incredible has been happening to your spiritual sight. Away from all the noise and chaos, away from their energy pollution, your vision has become crystal clear. Memories from years ago suddenly make sense now. That weird comment someone made 5 years ago that didn't sit right, now you understand what they really meant. That time someone's story didn't quite add up, now you see exactly what they were hiding. The universe has been connecting dots for you, showing you the full picture of who was working against you this whole time. You're having downloads, aren't you? Information just dropping into your consciousness while you're doing mundane tasks. You'll be washing dishes and suddenly understand why that person acted so strange at your birthday party 3 years ago. You'll be driving and suddenly realize who was behind that situation that almost destroyed your reputation. You'll be lying in bed and suddenly see the connection between multiple people who you thought were unconnected, understanding that they were all working together against you. But here's the part that would blow their minds if they knew. Despite seeing all of this, despite understanding exactly what they tried to do to you, you're not planning revenge. You're not crafting elaborate schemes to take them down. You've handed them over to their karma and moved on with your purpose. And that spiritual maturity, that ability to see everything and still choose peace, that's what makes you so powerful and them so powerless. Now let's talk about what you actually discovered about them, because this is where the story gets really interesting. It wasn't just one thing. It was a pattern of behavior, a spiritual signature they carry, a darkness they thought they were hiding so well. Some of them were literally performing spiritual work against you, sending negative energy your way, speaking curses over your life, trying to bind your blessings and block your rise. They'd smile at you during the day and perform rituals against you at night. There's someone specific who's been on your mind lately, isn't there? Someone whose energy never quite matched their words. You might not have known exactly what they were doing, but you felt it. Every time they complimented you, it felt like poison. Every time they hugged you, you wanted to shower afterwards. Every time they said they were happy for your success, you felt a cold wind blow through your soul. Your body was trying to tell you what your mind wasn't ready to accept. This person was actively working against you on spiritual levels. Others weren't consciously practicing dark arts, but their consistent jealousy, their obsessive hatred, their daily negative thoughts about you, all of that created its own form of spiritual attack. Every time they spoke your name with venom, they were casting a spell. Every time they wished for your downfall, they were launching spiritual arrows, and they thought you'd never figure it out, because most people don't have the spiritual sight to see these invisible attacks. But you started noticing patterns. Every time you were around certain people, you'd feel drained. After specific conversations, you'd have nightmares. When certain individuals found out about your blessings, those blessings would suddenly face obstacles. At first you might have thought it was coincidence, but your spirit knew better. Your inner knowing was screaming that something was off, even when your mind tried to rationalize it away. If this message hits your spirit, hype this video so more chosen ones like you can find it. Because there are people out there right now wondering why they feel so drained, so attacked, so blocked. And they need to understand what's really happening in the spiritual realm. The moment you started putting the pieces together was the moment their fear began. Because people who operate in darkness rely on that darkness to hide their activities. They depend on their targets being spiritually asleep, unaware of the supernatural warfare happening around them. But you woke up. You started seeing the matrix. You began recognizing the signs, feeling the energy, knowing without being told exactly who was working against you and how they were doing it. There was probably a specific moment when everything clicked, wasn't there? A moment when you were just going about your day and suddenly, like lightning striking, you understood everything. All the strange occurrences, all the unexplained setbacks, all the bizarre coincidences, they weren't random at all. They were orchestrated, planned, executed by people who wanted to see you fall. And in that moment of revelation, the entire game changed. Here's where the story takes a turn that has them losing sleep every single night. Every single attack they sent your way has started coming back to them. Not because you sent it back, you didn't have to. There's a spiritual law that governs these things, and it's as reliable as gravity. When you attack someone who's divinely protected, when you move against someone who's walking in their purpose, when you try to destroy someone who has God's hand on their life, those attacks don't just fail, they boomerang back with interest. Think about what they tried to do to you. They tried to destroy your reputation, and now their true colors are being exposed to everyone. They tried to block your financial blessings, and now they're facing poverty and lack. They tried to sabotage your relationships, and now they're experiencing betrayal and abandonment. They tried to make you sick with their negative energy, and now they're dealing with health issues that doctors can't explain. The universe doesn't play when it comes to protecting its chosen ones. The reversal is so precise, so poetic, that it would be almost beautiful if it weren't so devastating for them. That promotion they tried to steal from you, they're now getting demoted or fired. That relationship they tried to break up, their own love life is in shambles. That peace they tried to steal from you, they can't find a moment's rest, haunted by anxiety and fear that follows them everywhere they go. Some of them are starting to have dreams about you, not pleasant dreams either. They see you standing in divine light while they're sinking in the darkness they created. They wake up with your name on their lips, not from desire but from fear. Their own guilty conscience has become their worst enemy, tormenting them with visions of what they did and what's coming for them because of it. They're experiencing what I call spiritual insomnia. Their soul won't let them rest because it knows judgment is coming. These dreams aren't random, they're warnings from their own spirit, trying to get them to make amends before it's too late, but their pride won't let them. They're too invested in the narrative they created about you being the villain. They've told too many lies to too many people. They've built their entire identity around being your victim when they were actually your persecutor. And now they're trapped in a web of their own making, unable to escape the consequences that are closing in from all sides. The most ironic part is that they're terrified you're going to do to them what they tried to do to you. They think you're planning some elaborate revenge, that you're waiting for the perfect moment to strike. They don't understand that chosen ones don't operate like that. You don't need to fight battles that God is already fighting for you. You don't need to expose people who are already being exposed by the universe. You don't need to curse people who have already cursed themselves through their actions against you. Every day that passes, their fear intensifies. They're checking your social media constantly, looking for subliminal messages, searching for signs that you're about to expose them. They're analyzing every post, every picture, every status update, convinced that you're sending coded messages about what you know. When you post about being blessed, they think you're rubbing their face in it. When you post about karma, they think you're threatening them. When you post about peace, they think you're being sarcastic. They can't fathom that you've actually moved on, that you're genuinely at peace, that you've released them and their drama completely. What really has them shook is not just what you know about their actions, but what you perceived about their true nature. You didn't just catch them in a lie or discover a single betrayal. You saw through to their very essence, understood their core motivation, perceived the spirit that operates through them. And once someone with your level of discernment sees that deeply into another soul, there's no going back to pretending. You saw the jealousy they dressed up as concern. You recognized the competition they disguised as friendship. You felt the hatred they masqueraded as love. You perceived the demon they pretended was an angel. And what's worse for them, you saw it without them telling you, without anyone else exposing them, without any physical evidence. You just knew. Your spirit recognized their spirit, and the recognition was instant and undeniable. This is why they're so afraid of you being in hermit mode. When you're isolated, quiet, connected to the divine, your spiritual antenna is at its most powerful. You're downloading information from the universe, receiving revelations about things that happened in the past, understanding connections you never saw before. Every day you spend in this sacred solitude, more truth is being revealed to you. And they can feel it. Even from a distance, they can sense that you're seeing more, knowing more, understanding more about what they really did. The depth of what you're discovering in this hermit phase goes beyond just their individual actions. You're starting to see the spiritual network they're part of, the dark alliances they've formed, the generational patterns they're perpetuating. Some of these people come from bloodlines that have been practicing darkness for generations. Others got initiated into dark practices through their associations, and some simply allowed their jealousy and hatred to open doors for dark forces to operate through them. Some of these people were actually banking on you, never figuring it out. They thought they had covered their tracks so well, hidden their involvement so carefully, that you'd go through your whole life never knowing they were the ones sabotaging you behind the scenes. But the universe has a way of revealing everything in divine timing, and now in your hermit phase, away from all distractions, the truth is flooding in like water breaking through a dam. Your withdrawal from their life wasn't just a boundary, it was a power move that shifted the entire spiritual dynamic. See, as long as you were engaged with them, fighting with them, reacting to their provocations, they had access to your energy. They could feed off your reactions, justify their behavior through your responses, and maintain the narrative that you were the problem. But when you walked away in complete silence, you took all your power with you. This silence is louder than any argument could ever be. Your absence speaks volumes about what you know. The fact that you didn't even feel the need to confront them, to expose them, to demand answers, that tells them everything. It says you saw through them so completely that there was nothing left to discuss. It says you're so confident in what you know that you don't need their confession. It says you're so protected by the divine that you don't need to dirty your hands with revenge. The silence is also strategic in ways you might not even realize. By not telling anyone what you know, by not exposing their secrets, you've left them in a state of perpetual anxiety. They don't know if you've told anyone. They don't know if you have evidence. They don't know when or if you might reveal what you know. Every day they wake up wondering if today is the day their secrets come to light. Every time their phone rings, they wonder if it's someone calling to confront them about what you revealed. Every time someone looks at them strangely, they wonder if that person knows. But there's something else your withdrawal did that has them absolutely terrified. It removed you from the scene of the crime just before their karma arrived. See, when divine justice comes for someone, it often looks for the person they wronged to offer them a chance at redemption through forgiveness. But you're not there anymore. You've removed yourself so completely from their life that when their judgment comes, they have no one to apologize to, no one to make amends with, no way to potentially soften the blow of what's coming for them. They keep checking if you've blocked them, hoping you haven't, needing to keep that door open just in case they need to reach out and try to make things right. Some of them have already tried to reconnect, haven't they? Random messages after months of silence, suddenly showing up places they know you'll be, trying to use mutual friends to bridge the gap, but you're not taking the bait. You're not giving them access to your energy again, and that boundary is driving them insane with fear about what's coming for them. The mutual friends situation is particularly interesting. They're trying to use other people to get information about you, to figure out your state of mind, to gauge whether you're planning something. They're asking subtle questions, trying to seem casual while desperately fishing for information. "How's she doing?" they ask, hoping to hear you're struggling. "Has he said anything about me?" they inquire, terrified of the answer. These mutual friends don't realize they're being used as spies, but you do. Your discernment extends to seeing these reconnaissance missions for what they are. Some of these mutual friends are starting to notice the pattern too. They're beginning to see how obsessed this person is with you, how every conversation somehow circles back to you, how their energy shifts when your name comes up. A few of them have probably already started distancing themselves from this person, sensing the darkness without fully understanding it. The universe is isolating your enemies, not just from you, but from anyone who might enable their toxic behavior. Their support system is crumbling because authentic people can't stand to be around inauthentic energy for long. The reversal of fortune that's happening right now is so complete, so dramatic, that it's almost biblical in its proportions. You were the one they tried to paint as crazy, but now their own mental stability is crumbling. You were the one they tried to isolate, but now they're the ones finding themselves alone. You were the one they tried to defeat, but now they're the ones facing defeat after defeat in every area of their life. The very weapons they forged against you have become the instruments of their own destruction. The lies they spread about you are now entangling them in a web they can't escape. The energy they spent trying to block your blessings has created a spiritual deficit in their own lives that's growing every day. The time they invested in plotting against you was time they should have spent building their own foundation, and now that foundation is crumbling beneath their feet. And here's the thing that really has them shook. You're not even trying to win anymore. You've transcended the whole competition. While they're still playing games, you've left the playground entirely. While they're still thinking in terms of winning and losing, you've moved on to purpose and destiny. You're operating in dimensions they can't even perceive, receiving blessings they can't block, walking through doors they can't see. Your spiritual evolution during this hermit phase has accelerated beyond anything they anticipated. You're not the same person they tried to destroy. You've transformed into something they never expected, someone who can see in the dark, someone who can't be deceived, someone whose very presence exposes hidden things. You've become their worst nightmare, not because you're vengeful, but because you're awakened. The transformation goes deeper than just spiritual sight. Your entire energetic frequency has shifted to a level they can't reach or affect anymore. It's like you've graduated to a different dimension of existence while they're still stuck in the same low vibrational patterns that they've always operated in. They can sense this shift even if they don't understand it. When they think about you now, they feel a wall of light they can't penetrate. When they try to send negative energy your way, it's like trying to throw mud at the sun. It just gets incinerated before it even gets close. This dimensional shift is permanent. You can't go back to who you were before, and that's exactly why they're so terrified. They lost their chance to stop you when you were still accessible to their level of attack. Your enemies are about to watch you rise to heights they never imagined possible, not because you crushed them to get there, but because the universe is elevating you naturally, organically, inevitably. Every blessing that comes your way feels like judgment to them. Every success you achieve reminds them of what they tried to prevent. Every time you level up, they feel themselves sinking deeper into the quicksand of their own karma. The protection around you has become so thick, so impenetrable, that their attacks don't even reach you anymore. They're bouncing off your spiritual armor like rubber bullets, returning to sender with compounded force. Some of them have actually tried to launch new attacks recently, only to have those attacks immediately backfire in ways that scared them into stopping. They're learning the hard way that you're not someone to mess with, not because you're vengeful, but because you're divinely protected. 444. This number that keeps appearing in your life isn't random. It's a divine timestamp, marking the moment when everything changes in your favor. The spiritual scales that were artificially tipped against you are being rebalanced with dramatic force. The delays that held you back are being supernaturally accelerated. The doors that were slammed in your face are being blown off their hinges. This number sequence is also a message to your enemies, though they might not understand it. It's the universe's way of saying time's up. Their season of operating in darkness is over. Their ability to hide their true nature is finished. Their capacity to harm God's chosen ones has been revoked, and deep in their spirit, they can feel this shift happening, even if they can't articulate it. Your enemies are about to witness something that will haunt them for the rest of their lives, your complete and total victory achieved without you lifting a finger against them. They're going to watch you get promoted to positions they wanted. They're going to see you receive opportunities they tried to steal. They're going to witness you walking in blessings they tried to block. And the worst part for them, some of them are going to need your help, your connections, your favor to survive what's coming for them. Imagine the humiliation they'll feel when they have to come to you for help, when the very person they tried to destroy becomes their only hope for salvation, when they have to humble themselves before someone they tried to humiliate. The universe has a sense of irony that's both perfect and devastating. The very person they tried to push down will be in a position to lift them up, and they'll have to live with that knowledge for the rest of their lives. The gifts that made you a target are about to make you a leader. The sensitivity that made you vulnerable is about to make you powerful. The spiritual sight that showed you their darkness is about to show you pathways to light they could never find. You're not just surviving what they did to you, you're being transformed by it into something they could never become. Your testimony is being written right now, and they're playing the role of the villains who tried to stop the hero, but only made the hero stronger. Years from now, when you're telling your story of triumph, they'll be reduced to a footnote, a brief mention of the obstacles you overcame. Their entire existence in your narrative will be condensed to, "There were people who tried to stop me, but God had other plans." But right now, in this moment, they're living through the horror of watching their worst fears materialize. Every spiritual principle they violated is demanding payment. Every universal law they broke is seeking balance. They thought they were smart, operating in the shadows where no one could see. They thought they were safe, hidden behind their masks and manipulations, but the universe sees everything, records everything, remembers everything, and now the bill has come due with interest they never calculated. The compound effect of their negative actions has created a spiritual debt so massive that they'll be paying it off for years, maybe even lifetimes. Some of them are beginning to understand that what they did to you didn't just affect this life. They've created karmic bonds that will follow them into their next incarnation if they don't make things right. Now let me put you onto something real, Destiny Engine. I built this because I was done watching chosen ones get dragged through betrayal, isolation and attacks while their enemies strutted around unchecked. I want to help you accelerate the speed of your divine justice and step fully into your purpose. And the beauty of it, you don't even have to lift a finger. Destiny Engine takes their downfall and flips it into your rise. This isn't another meditation app. It's declassified consciousness technology, the same mind programming tools your enemies once used to install fear, competition and scarcity, re-engineered to restore your sovereignty and align you with the cooperative, upgraded operating framework. It generates personalized sequences mapped to your divine purpose. The hardest thing you'll do is put on headphones, press play and watch your enemies keep digging their own grave. The collective upgrade is underway. Start your Destiny Engine for $1 today and turn everything they did to break you into fuel for your rise. Link in the description. As you sit in your hermit phase charging up for what's next, understand this truth. The people who fear you have already lost. They lost the moment they chose to move against someone divinely protected. They lost when they mistook your kindness for weakness. They lost when they thought they could dim a light that was ordained by the universe itself. You've realized something about them that goes deeper than their individual actions. You've seen the spiritual force that operates through them, the darkness that uses them as puppets. And that recognition, that ability to see not just the human but the spirit behind the human, that's what terrifies them most. Because once you can see at that level, you become impossible to deceive, impossible to manipulate, impossible to defeat. The fear they carry now will follow them for the rest of their lives. Even after your paths never cross again, even after years have passed, they'll still remember the chosen one they tried to destroy, who ended up destroying them without even trying. They'll still check on you from afar, watching your continued rise with a mixture of regret and terror. They'll still wonder if you ever think about them, not knowing that you've released them so completely that they rarely, if ever, cross your mind. Your time isn't just coming, it has arrived with undeniable force. The very ground beneath your feet is restructuring itself to support your rise. The cosmos is realigning in your favor. The spiritual realm is preparing a display of divine justice that will leave no doubt about who you really are and whose you really are. So let them fear, let them lose sleep, let them check your social media obsessively, wondering what you're planning. You've got bigger things to focus on, like stepping into the destiny they tried to steal from you. Your silence isn't just the absence of words, it's the presence of power. Your withdrawal isn't retreat, it's preparation for a return that will shake the very foundations of their reality. The person they tried to destroy has become someone they could never defeat. The light they tried to dim has become a flame they can't extinguish. The chosen one they tried to eliminate has become the very force that will witness their downfall, not through revenge, but through rising so high that their attempts to harm you become nothing more than footnotes in your testimony. This is your time, this is your season, this is your divine vindication, and everyone who moved against you is about to understand why some people are called chosen, because no weapon formed against them shall prosper, and every tongue that rises against them in judgment shall be condemned. Your enemy's fear is just confirmation that this spiritual truth is manifesting in real time. Walk forward knowing that justice isn't coming, it's already here. Your enemies feel it in their bones, see it in their dreams, know it in their spirits. You don't have to announce your victory. Your very existence, your continued rise, your unshakable peace in the midst of their panic, that's all the announcement the universe needs. You've already won. Now it's just time for everyone else to see what the spiritual realm has known all along. You were always going to rise, and they were always going to fall. Their fear of you is just them finally understanding this divine truth.